Thinking about starting judo as an old guy. Am I going to get injured? Can I afford that? Do I really want to go through that? In this video, I want to provide some background on who I am, my level of physical activity, my experience before I started my judo journey. And then I'll get into the major issue at hand, which is injuries, including my own injury history, as well as the bumps and bruises you get when you do judo. As far as age, I am 49. I'm going to turn 50 in a few months. And I decided to start judo at the beginning of this year. Let me go through my current exercise regimen and physical state. I'm 5'7", I weigh 160. I would say I'm in pretty good physical shape. I exercise regularly. I actually do sprint triathlons, if you know what that is. So I'm not super fast, but I would say I'm probably in better shape than your average sprint triathlete. For those triathlons, I exercise 5 to 6 days a week, including some strength training along the way, running twice a week, biking once or twice a week, swimming twice a week. As we get older, I am concerned about putting on some muscle. So I go to the gym, lift weights, not overly heavy. Do have to say I started getting a little overzealous with the weight training last year when I started taking a little bit more seriously. By that, I mean I started lifting a little too much weight and then put a little bit extra strain on my tendons and ligaments. My elbows, I think I strained them a little bit. Overall, I'd say I'm in pretty good physical shape, probably better than most. Then I want to provide a little bit about my martial arts history. I've never done judo before. This is me starting judo as a newbie. However, I have done martial arts. I started off in elementary school, I was probably 3rd or 4th grade with Shotokan karate. By middle school and high school, I had moved on to Taekwondo, got a black belt in Taekwondo. In college, did some wushu, if you're familiar with that, kung fu. I also explored some aikido, did that for about a month while I was in college. And then post-college, I tried jiu-jitsu for about 9 months, I want to say. I lost interest because work was starting to get busy and the jiu-jitsu school I went to was not particularly exciting. I just kind of lost interest. Now that I've been doing judo for a few months, I want to talk about how a typical class will go. So there's usually a warm-up, jogging around the dojo, high knees, butt kickers, some stretching, karaoke side to side, and various other things just to get your heart rate up. Some other exercises like forward rolls, cartwheels. After warm-ups, maybe that's like 15 minutes, then we'll typically do skills and drilling. So learning throws, practicing throws, trying to develop some muscle memory, doing the same part of a throw over and over, like getting into a throw. That's called uchikomi. That's when you practice the first part of a throw without doing the actual throw, which would be slower and harder on your partner. And then usually the last half hour of, say, like a 90-minute class is randori, which is some light sparring, and you just go with different partners for a few minutes at a time. And the idea there is to learn as much as possible in that kind of setting. Now let's talk about injuries. So my own injury history is, first of all, I actually have 3 ACL tears. So that's ACL is your knee injury. From high school and college, from Taekwondo, and then from playing basketball. Over the past few years, I've developed an Achilles tendonitis from running. Every time I come back from judo, I go Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I recently started attending Saturday classes as well. My wife will ask me when I walk in the door, any injuries? The thing is, I have bruises everywhere, and especially around your shins and your feet. It's just inevitable. You will always get bruises from judo. But sometimes you'll also get it on your chest, you'll get it on your arm. There's just a whole lot of gripping. And your joints will get sore, especially your fingers, because you'll be gripping the other person's gi, their jacket, their lapel, in order to be able to get a grip and do your throw. Your finger joints will get sore. The biggest one, though, for me was actually going through a little bit of a grappling, because there is some grappling in judo. It's not all just throws. Was actually already getting cauliflower ear, I want to say about 6 weeks in. If you're familiar with cauliflower ear, what a lot of wrestlers and judo players have, I was a little surprised to get it so early on and realize it wasn't going away. I made an appointment. Luckily, I was able to get an appointment with an ENT doctor to drain the cauliflower ear. It is something that I got within a couple months. I know a lot of people that have been doing judo for a year or two and still have not gotten that. However, I don't think it's uncommon. After I got it drained, there's actually even things called cauliflower ear magnets that will prevent the drained ear from refilling back up with blood, right? Keep it compressed. Helpful to have those ear magnets handy when you get your ear drained, as opposed to ordering off Amazon, which is what I did. But in the day between getting the ear drained and the cauliflower magnet arriving, it filled back up with blood. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to making another video and catching up on my judo journey. Since recording that first part of the video, I've already suffered a couple other injuries that are worth mentioning. One is a sprained ankle. When you get thrown pretty regularly during randori, sprained ankles probably are not an uncommon thing, as well as any other kind of sprained joints, but especially ankles. So I've been hobbling around for the past few days. Fortunately, it's healing rather quickly, but knee and ankle issues are certainly more common than uncommon. Then the other one that's worth mentioning are bursitis in the fingers, so swollen joints, where now, because I'm gripping too tightly after talking to my fellow judokas in class, they say I'm gripping too tightly, and then that leads to soreness in the fingers, which then over time, if it's bursitis, can lead to, I guess in our case of age, arthritis, or it can just lead to discomfort and less flexibility with the fingers unless you can massage it and rest it and heat it. So with time, hopefully you can overcome the bursitis. But in the short term, I'm a little concerned that I've got these swollen fingers, these joints at this first knuckle here from gripping too tightly. So one thing to really watch out for as a beginner is to stay loose with the grips so you don't end up getting these swollen joints that eventually turn into bursitis, and hopefully you can overcome it. I think that's a major risk, especially if you work with your fingers and your hands a lot. So maybe if you're a dentist or surgeon, then starting judo and ending up with swollen joints could be detrimental to your career. But injuries are a way of life, and certainly much more so when you do judo.